morning, and welcome to our new podcast series, Coffee Conversation with Community Providers. This podcast series is to help educate families about potential therapy options for their loved one on the spectrum. And our first podcast guest with me today is Adam. Adam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here. My name is Adam Volker. I'm a board certified behavior analyst, also known as a BCBA. I own an ABA practice here in Las Vegas, Nevada called Centric ABA, where it's a team of ABA therapists who deliver ABA therapy to children and their families.
That's awesome. We love our ABA providers. Okay, so for those that are new, please tell us a little bit about what ABA is. And ABA is an acronym for Applied Behavior Analysis. So,
Yes, applied behavior analysis, also known as ABA, is an evidence-based therapy that is supported by behavioral science and behavioral principles to help build very important, awesome life skills such as communication, social skills, everyday living skills, adaptive skills, and it's a very interactive therapy, and it's driven by data, which is really cool because in therapy we're trying to simultaneously teach skills and improve skills while decreasing and reducing challenging behaviors, and all of this is driven by targets and treatment plan goals, and everything is collected through data. And so that's the cool part about ABA is that it's data driven, and we get to see visuals on data's or on graphs of data, and how we're projecting things like how skills are increasing or problem behaviors are decreasing. And so it's really cool, and particularly with ABA, we're looking at the why, the functions of behavior. So that's very important. So again, it's a very interactive. That's why it is called applied behavior analysis, because we're applying our teaching methods, and we're interacting with learners and individuals. And again, it's driven by the collection of data, so we know that progress and treatment plan goals are going in the right direction to improve overall, very important skills, and to reduce the challenging and problem behaviors that are impeding our learning.
So it's evidence-based, years and years of research, and it's kind of evolved and changed over the years. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Can you tell me a little bit about the ages? Is it just for early intervention? Can you go through adulthood? Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. ABA can be applied to any age, and it can be applied in any setting. And so I know a lot of young, early children diagnosed receive early intervention services that may go right into ABA therapy. But ABA can be applied really at any time with any age. So it is not exclusive to just ages 2 to 3 to 5. Our practice in particular works with all ages. So we work with children as young as 2, up to early elementary students, to adolescent teenagers and young adults. And so that is really a cool thing about ABA is it is not particular to one age group and to just only young learners. ABA is for all ages and all learners.
I love that, because you so often hear in the community, or my son or daughter hit 18 and they aged out of services. So I love that this is something that can be worked on throughout the entire lifespan. And I also use it with my dogs. It works great. Okay, so what are some common misconceptions that you hear or that you know of?
Yeah, thinking about just some of the conversations I've heard, or just in my experience, I've heard things like ABA is just about rewards and punishments, or it's just it's a very strict therapy that focuses on repetition and focuses on just less distracting environments and really targeting things over and over. And that's not necessarily the case. I mean, ABA, like I mentioned before when I was just defining and describing ABA, it can be applied in various settings, in a home, in a clinical setting, in schools, out in the community, really anywhere. And it's not so much about just rewards and punishments, it's about reinforcement. It's about reinforcing positive social interactions, positive behaviors, and it's about teaching really awesome skills and modifying environments to help improve, the overall quality of life and
Sure.
improve on just other things. It's not just about earning rewards and punishment. There's so many positive factors and variables that are worked on and I've also heard, there's again that one single method. It's just, maybe just sitting down, at a desk or table in a very less distracting room and just focusing on repetitions of like, imitation skills or matching cards and stuff like that. Where
Hmm.
that's not the case. I mean, there are so many ways and so many teaching methods. I mean, there's functional communication training, there's social skill groups, there's naturalistic teaching, there's parent trainings, there's behavior skills training. So there's so many different methods and approaches
Hmm.
within ABA under the umbrella. So I think those are some of the misconceptions is that there's a one focus and it's just about this. And really it's multifaceted. There's so
Sure.
many, when you really dive into the science and you really look at the history and then look at where it's at today, there's so many ways to apply ABA. I mean,
Hmm.
parents can do it, therapists can do it, teens, adults, like we all can do it as human beings.
Hmm.
Um, and I think those are like the two main things that I hear is just, yeah, it might get a bad rap just because of, maybe how things were done, uh, decades ago
Decades ago, and yes.
in just maybe certain clinics. But every provider and every you know, um, professional may have their own style or own approach, but again, that might be just that approach.
Hmm.
There's different approaches, and
Hmm.
there's so many ways to approach ABA. And again, that's what I've always tried to focus on as a BCBA is to really focus on each individual learner, their learning styles, what's going to be best. Maybe we do need to kind of like get into a room that's a little less distracting and focus on
But
our
it all
attending
is
skills.
very individualized, right? And that kind
Absolutely.
of covers what my next question was. How has
Okay.
it, grown and changed over the years? I think in the beginning there was a lot of one-on-one at the table, but like you said, it can be really done anywhere
Hmm.
now, and depending on the skills that you're wanting the individual to learn, like for an adult would be completely different than a young individual on the spectrum. Like my daughter, for example, is 27 and she did ABA for about 9 years. But we would go out in the community and she would help, grocery shopping or things like that. ABA can be applied anywhere and really focus on the deficits of that individual. So,
Yeah, I love how you mentioned that. I mean, that again, that kind of ties into maybe the misconceptions I talked
mhm,
about, but the individualized, the customized component of ABA therapy, as ABA therapists, we are looking at each individual and their family, and what's going to be the best for them, for
mhm,
that learner. That doesn't matter the age. If a child is 2, we want to focus on the 2-year-old age appropriate skills
sure.
compared to, like you said, a
Mhm,
young adult who might be focusing more on relationships and social skills and vocational skills. But we want to focus on and make sure that for 2-year-olds are working on 2-year-old stuff, 18-year-old
mhm,
working on 18-year-old stuff. So that is where that individualized component comes in. Again, it doesn't matter what age we work with. We can work with all ages, but we are going to individualize the care and treatment to that age and to what that learner needs and their
mhm.
families. So I love that part of ABA. It's individualized, it's customizable, and we
Yeah.
can really learn so much about each client or patient or family that we work with.
Sure. And I wanted to mention something too, because I think back when my daughter was receiving ABA therapy, rapport with the individual is so important, right? I had therapists come into my home that just didn't connect with my daughter. And I want parents to understand this is a business. And if this individual's not connecting with your loved one, move on. There's so many providers out there now. You really need to do your homework,
Mhm.
interviewing the company, interviewing, employees, interviewing people that have used this company to really find one that fits your family and fits the needs of your loved one.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that is a critical component. I mean, applied behavior analysis. I mean, we're in the social sciences. We're in the human service field, and that's I say that because yes, when we're if I'm a BCBA, by myself working on a case, and there's a 5-year-old learner, and 2 parents and 3 siblings, and I'm working in the home. I have to build a strong connection, obviously, with the learner who needs my support, but the parents and the siblings, we have to make this thing a team effort because we want success for everyone. We want everyone
Sure.
to succeed. And eventually, it's sad, but eventually I'll have to look at fading myself out because those
Mhm.
skills are mastered, maintained, and generalized, which is,
Mhm.
again, our terminal goals in AVA is to get in, help, intensive treatment, and support, and be able to fade ourselves out. So the kiddos, the learners, the clients and their families can carry those skills on
Sure.
year after year after year and support their
Well,
loved
and usually a
ones.
session is what, 1, 2, 3 hours maybe, and you can continue this throughout the day.
Hmm.
You're only with these individuals for a short amount of time.
Right.
I remember doing hours of parent training. My other daughter did specific programming, with my daughter on the spectrum. So it's really a family effort
Yeah.
in training the whole family. So parent training is a huge component. I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about, say, a family calls you? What would be the first steps? What would you do to help get the family going?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can speak for our practice and how we approach it. So if we get a brand new family that calls in or reaches out to us, we're first just trying to just get a little bit of history, background information, like what's been going on, what are the pressing concerns, is there a diagnosis, depending on the age, is your kiddo or child in school, are they working, what's we're trying to kind of bring everything up to speed so we know all the background information, kind of where they at, what they're looking for, and then once we get all of that, then we'll schedule that I guess initial intake or that interview where we can actually talk about how uh, ABA would be a great fit, and what some potential goals might be, or what they're looking for in terms of outcome and what type of collaboration, because it might not just be ABA, it could also
Sure.
be speech pathology, there could be some medical concerns, so we have to consider all those things too. But really, when parents and families call us, we're really trying to get to know them. Immediately from the beginning, we're trying to build that connection.
Hmm.
We want to know, why they're calling, what they're looking for, how we can help them, because we want to make sure that we're a good fit, before we schedule an initial assessment and then have a treatment plan and then spend 6 months in an
Right.
authorization period and so on. So we're right from the beginning. We are building that connection, that relationship. And even if we aren't the best fit at that time, or we're not able to provide like the exact services they need, we're going to guide them. We're going to advocate for them. We're going to find out who can help them. It might be
Hmm.
one of my colleagues, it might be another service provider in a different specialty. But again, at our practice in Centric, we approach everything, full circle of care, whether you're clients or not.
Hmm.
We're trying to help everyone because we know in this city, like there's been a lot of growth. There are a lot of providers now compared to 5, 10 years
Hmm.
ago, but families need help and
Yep.
families need guidance. And when what they should expect, really calling anyone, is just building a connection with whoever they're talking with, and getting all that background information kind of checked off so that they can move forward with ABA services if that's what they're looking for.
I love that you said if you can't provide it, you will help families connect with maybe a different service provider. That's really the basis of what we do at FEAT is connecting families with service providers to help them find the right fit and the
Yes.
right therapy. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that. I love that you do that. Um, Tell us a little bit. We get a lot of phone calls. We get over 600 phone calls a month, and they're not always the happiest phone calls. Parents are calling, they're frustrated um, about the insurance barriers and availability of providers and wait list. What are the gaps that you see as a service provider? What is the toughest thing that you see that our families are facing?
Yeah. In terms of wait lists, that was definitely a gap in recent years. I have seen that improve. I think
Hmm.
I've seen there's a lot more ABA providers now in 2026 than there were even in 2023. And so the gap there, we're filling that gap. There are more ABA service providers, in-home clinics, some school-based ABA providers. So that's great. There still continues, I know, sometimes to be waitlist, so that can be a barrier. I've heard. Well, I mean, again, compared to like 5, 10 years ago, I was hearing, 2 year wait
Two
lists. I
year.
couldn't believe it.
Hmm.
Whereas now it might be more 6 months to a year. So wait lists, because of the need, wait lists can still be a barrier. I know insurance can also be a barrier. Um, well, number one, knowing your insurance, knowing what the benefits are for ABA if your child or loved one needs it.
Hmm.
So yeah, wait lists and insurance are definitely the barriers still. I will tell you what we're actively trying to do, and I know a lot of BCBAs do this, but I myself am actively trying to do it. Is help with the insurance and help with the wait list. Like find out why the wait lists are so long. And if someone's on a wait list, try to get them to another provider who's offering great services that can get them in sooner, whether it's us or a colleague.
Mhm.
Same thing with insurance. If people don't understand their insurance, helping them verify their benefits and eligibility, reaching out to the insurance for them to know, like, here's your deductible, or you don't owe anything. It's covered once we get it approved.
Yeah.
Like that might be Medicaid compared to Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield. But it's a tricky world to navigate insurance, commercial versus Medicare,
Sure.
and there's different products and different groups, and it's even confusing for us as the clinicians because things change, regulations change, so that continues to be an ongoing barrier. Thankfully for me, before I became a BCBA and got into ABA, I worked for larger healthcare organizations here in Las Vegas, where I got kind of like some really great training and experience dealing with insurances firsthand with like
Mhm.
with primary care physicians and urgent care physicians and pediatricians. But even on that side, the medical side, it's still a headache, collecting
It is.
co-pays and figuring out which insurance takes what and what'll cover this. So I really hope for ABA, for autism and just for families in general, that insurance gets better. I really do. I really wish there was more of an effort us as BCBAs could do to push the needle,
Sure.
to help streamline processes. But I can tell you that's what we do at Centric ABA, is
Mhm.
our team and myself included. Like, we're trying to like limit and decrease those barriers by helping families with their insurance, so they know their insurance, they know what they're covered
Mhm.
with. And of course, if we have a wait list, we're trying to reduce that as quickly as possible to get people in, or give them a timeline, realistic timeline. Like, we're going to get your assessment done in 2 weeks or
Mhm.
3 months, and try find what works. And I hope most providers are doing that. I hope that if there are wait lists or insurance barriers, that everyone is kind of helping
I
each
hope
other out through
so.
the
I
barriers. And
yes,
and
I
I've
love
seen
that.
growth and progress, but I do hope that the gaps of wait lists and insurances improve, not only here but just everywhere.
One thing I want to mention, we get so many phone calls a month, and they say, "Hey, I'm looking for a provider that takes Blue Cross Blue Shield," and we always tell parents, please log on into your, insurance provider booklet, or, call the number on the back of your insurance card and see what they cover, and then from there we can hopefully
Yeah,
find a good ABA company to help your loved one.
yeah,
But definitely make sure you know your insurance and how to connect. um, I have another question.
yes,
How do you think families can best advocate for their child?
yeah. Well, you said it in the beginning. I mean, you know families are the recipient, families and the kids, but it's the whole family. It's everyone that is the recipient of these services. So
Mhm.
I know, like, BCBAs might focus on assessing the child and their needs and working on um, the improvements for skills to decrease problem behaviors. But we as behavior analysts have to look at, again, at that full picture, that whole picture of the child and their whole family. And so asking questions, like you said, asking questions about, just like we started this conversation, what is ABA? Yeah, okay, saying it's one thing, but modeling, demonstrating, showing, like, can we watch videos? Like, can we read together on it? Can you show us what a skill, program looks like, or a
Mhm.
behavior reduction strategy? So the more parents can ask questions about what is ABA, how do you apply it? How can I apply it? Where can I learn more about it? What how where are you certified? How do you get certified? Like, all of those questions are so
So
important, and
important.
that information is out there. Like our board information, our ethics, the state of Nevada. It's all public information, so
Mhm.
everyone has access to these things. So when parents are looking at ABA, and let's just say this example, let's say a family just had their young little child diagnosed with autism, let's say 2 years old, and the diagnosing provider recommends ABA therapy, speech therapy, etc. Um, you know, let's just start with ABA. If parents like, well, okay, therapy, but what is ABA? Applied behavior analysis. Obviously, the behavior, there's something that we have to work on there because there's some problems we see with our child.
Sure.
But what is that? So right away, asking the questions of what is ABA, who provides it, what does it all look like? Um, you know, there are so many questions to ask. So
Mhm.
never, my advice to parents or anyone, who's a recipient of ABA services, ask all the questions you need and want. You're entitled to that. And I've never had a question that I was like, I don't, like, even if I don't know the answer, I'll go out and find it, I'll get it. But like, there's so many questions and answers to be had,
Mm-hmm.
especially with each individual case. So, advocating for your child, that definitely ask questions. Look at all options and resources. I mean, like I said, ABA is not just in a clinic, in a classroom, just one-on-one learning. There's groups, there's in-home, there's community.
Mm-hmm.
Some schools have support there, and there's even telehealth virtual options, which are really cool. So, asking questions, um, following up with looking at other families, or finding out from other people what their experiences are, is always great. So it's just kind of that like homework. It's it's similar to all the other things you look at. Like if you're going to
Buying
go,
a house, buying a car, you do your
you do
research,
your
right?
research. You want to know
Yes.
the reviews. You want to know the competence of the people who are delivering services. You want to make sure yeah, you should check all
How
those
long have they
things.
been in business? How many BCBAs? You want to
Absolutely.
know the history. You want what's best for your loved one. So do the research.
And
Definitely.
parents have choices. So when you're
Mm-hmm.
advocating for your child and your family, you have choices. There's answers for your questions, and there's amazing support out here. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
FEAT is an amazing
Thank
organization
you.
that
Thank you.
provides
Thank you.
continuous
Yeah.
support and answers, and so I love the collaboration y'all do here. But you're a great resource, and so I would tell parents to reach out to FEAT. They can reach out to us, because like I said, whether we're providing direct services or not,
Mm-hmm.
I will happily guide them in the right direction. I've done it for years,
Thank you.
and it's just a passion that drives me more than anything. I love what I do. I don't work. I have fun, and I
What
follow
is
my
it? You never
passion.
work a day in your life if you love what you do,
I love it.
right?
So yeah, if
Yeah.
anyone ever wants to reach out, I know you're there to support. I'm there to
Yeah.
support. It could be general questions. It could be more streamlined questions that need follow through. But yeah, just please, everyone, advocate for yourself. Ask questions. Do your homework. Do your research. Do your reviews, and make the best decision that fits you and your family and your child.
Thank you so much, Adam. We really appreciate your knowledge and coming here and doing our first
Yeah,
podcast.
this is
So we're
exciting.
super excited. We will continue to interview different community partners. Stay tuned. I believe our next one might be speech therapy. And we're really excited to share this information with you. Thank you again so
Thank you
much.
for
We really
having me.
appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Ta-da!